Okay, excellent. So what we're going to do is I am very, very excited to have a little time. We're going to have a sit down and chat tonight with none other than Donna Perkins. Donna has been in the business for 4 years now, correct?
Correct.
And I know that this has been a dream for you. And I know you must just be beside yourself when you got to, you know, log in and see it actually said regional vice president. Was that crazy?
That was really crazy. What was really crazy was that I was actually signing up a new customer for our product identity theft protection. And he was checking, you know, putting in some information, and he was putting in all of his information. I was just watching and standing by through a Zoom conference, much like this. And I thought, well, I'll just check in and see if anything's updated. And it said RVP, and I'm like, ah! And I couldn't scream because I'd never met this guy. We just had met on Facebook and through a networking group. And so I was trying to be really cool.
You held it together. You held it together. It was actually funny. We were texting each other. And she kept logging in and waiting for it to show and logging in, waiting for it to show. And she texted me and showing, and she's like, and I'm on a Zoom signing up a customer. I can't even say anything. I'm like, hurry up! So tonight, our goal is a couple things. We really want to just get to know you, Donna. I've had the pleasure of knowing you, but a lot of people on the team don't know your background. And then we're going to pick your brain a little bit, if that's okay as well. So the first thing is, if you could just take a quick minute and tell us what your background is, what you were doing before ACN came into your life.
Well, you know, I'm a little bit old, so I've done a few things. But my background, I actually have a degree in education and didn't teach school for very long. I got busy in business and worked for several people. And then at some point, I had started opening up some title agencies. And so through my career, I'd owned and operated multiple title agencies and a mortgage company. And then I started in real estate, and I was doing all kinds of crazy things. My parents are both hard workers, and my dad always, you know, talked about entrepreneurship, and he started his own painting company at the age of 13. So I had a huge background in that. And I was working for an insurance agent, flipping properties on the side and managing properties before I got into ACN. That's what I was doing.
And I know you would sit at the conventions and, you know, you get to watch people get promoted to regional vice president. It's such an amazing experience. And I know when you did that, you were probably dreaming of, you know, one day that's going to be me. And one day I'm going to hear, you know, Mr. Greg Provenzano say my name and call me to the stage, right? Is that something that you used to just sit in the audience and go, one day I'm going to get
Oh my gosh, I can see this screen.
Can you say hello, sir?
Congratulations, Donna.
Thank you so much.
I am excited for you, and I know everybody on this line is so excited for you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the platform that you've given us. Oh my goodness, it's been amazing. And honestly, everything you guys are doing behind the scenes, I can't even imagine how crazy it is on your side of the world. But on my side of the world, it's been awesome.
Nice. Well, that's the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to do the hard work. You guys are supposed to get the customers and get promoted. And you did just that in spite of all the craziness that's going on in the world today.
Oh, well, you've provided such an incredible opportunity, sir. I mean, it's just amazing. You and the co-founders and the executive staff and everybody that works so hard in the corporate office. You know, during this pandemic, you've just made it so easy, honestly, to run a home-based business and to be able to get the message out to everybody and to help people. And that's really, you know, the pulse of the company is to help other people. And you certainly have made that opportunity so available right now, specifically right now.
Well, we're in a world where it's a little bit crazy, and people are finding every excuse on how something's not going to work or things can't get done. And you just found a way. And when I saw your name pop up on my, I get all the reports on my phone for all the RVP promotions. And when I saw your name, I got a big smile on my face because I know the price that you paid, and you did it in some of the most challenging times. And so that's a great testament to who you are and what you've been able to do. And it really does tell a great story for everybody that's on the line here tonight, that, you know, you really can get things done if you put your mind to it, especially with, as you said, the platform that you've been provided. This technology is unbelievable. I mean, my gosh, I've been able to talk to literally tens of thousands of people every single week with the Zoom technology, and I haven't left my home in 2 months.
Isn't that wonderful?
It's spectacular. And our customer counts are going up. People's residual incomes are going up for those people that are working. You know, but at the same time, you know, I can have conversations with people, and all the conversations are surrounded on what they're watching on Netflix and the next series that they're watching. And it's amazing how people can take their time, the time that we've been given, and either be productive with it or be lazy with it. And it's just a matter of making a decision and a lot of activity. And you really set the stage. Congratulations to you.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate it.
And what a leader to follow, Leanne Gabriel, huh?
I mean, right? Hey,
Leanne,
if she was calling you every morning at 7 a.m., you'd be doing some work too.
She tries to.
So I want to tell you something, Mr. Provenzano, that's really funny. When she got in the business, by coincidence, she actually filled out her application and got her IBO number on my birthday. And so we were laughing. I said she was a gift in my life, and we've been incredible friends ever since. She's worked her tail off to pull this off.
Nice. You know, Leanne, I remember when we were still traveling, and the last time I was with you and your entire organization was when we did that boot camp on that Sunday afternoon, that impromptu boot camp that worked out so well. And the things that happened from that boot camp in your organization were unprecedented. And part of that momentum is what Donna's experiencing right now, is from, you know, that day that we were able to spend together and really just have a great conversation with that entire room of people. I'll never forget it. I just remember so many light bulbs that went off on that day. And I just love the fact that the thing that I love most about ACN is the environment that we create to grow people. And if they take this environment and really do the things that the compensation plan is telling them to do, which is doing nothing more than talking to people, and everybody has time today, everybody's home, there's no excuse not to talk to people today. You really can get something significantly done for yourselves and for your family in spite of what's going on. You know, as I said on some of the leadership sessions over the last couple of weeks, there's no question that there's going to be another emergency that's going to take place in our lives. And wouldn't it be great for everybody on this line to have something else going on besides just their career, so that you can weather the next storm when it hits? If you think there's not going to be another storm, you're burying your head in the sand. Something else is going to happen. Something's going to rattle the economy. The stock market's going to dip. The 401ks are going to dip. The retirement's going to dip. People are going to get furloughed. They're going to get laid off. What better way to overcome a storm than to be with a group of people that have built a company where you can build your company within it? Without the risks, without the capital, you're helping a bunch of, look, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but sometimes I believe that we forget the beauty of what we have and who we are. So that message should resound so clearly with as many people that are on this line here tonight. And, you know, I'm just here just to say hi and say congratulations to you, Donna. But, you know, I just can't help while I'm on the line with ACN IBOs just to tell you that there's more ahead than what you're dealing with right now. Is if you make the right decisions and you do things that most people are not willing to do. I say this night, tonight, let's start something that you've never done before. Let's do everything at a higher level. Let's go a little bit more than everybody else and watch and see what happens. Just test me on this. Tomorrow, I would set a minimum activity level for everybody to do 10 Zooms a day. 10 Zooms a day. Just call somebody and say, hey, how you doing? I promise you the majority of time they're not doing so well. Do you have an answer for them? Absolutely. No question about it. So I'm excited for you, Donna. I am really excited for you. And I wish that, you know, we could do this promotion personally. I love being able to do that from the stage, but this is the next best thing. You still got the contract, you still got the level, you still get the additional overrides, the residual income. Congratulations. Very proud of you, very excited about what you've been able to do.
And I still get to see you. And so thank you so much for taking this special, special time away from your wife, away from your grandchildren, right? To be on here tonight with us. It's a big deal, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks for the invite, Leanne.
Thank you so much for taking the time. It's amazing. I appreciate it very much.
You're
Have
welcome.
a great night.
Have a great night, everyone.
Okay, so now we will get back to the interview I promised you. But as you all know, when you get promoted to the position of regional vice president, you normally get to go to the convention and be promoted. And Donna Perkins will still get that. But if you can't bring Donna to the convention, you bring the convention to Donna, right? There you go.
Only Leanne can bring Mr. Provenzano to me.
So look, you're a big deal, and we're all really excited for you. So now, if I haven't thrown you off too much, let's have a little fun and do this interview we told people. One of the things I wanted to do, I know, nice way for me to get you all rattled there. But I do want to take a quick second before I ask you the first question. I just want all of you to understand, not only is Donna incredibly special, but what company would the president of a company that's running in 27 countries stop and do something like that? And you know, the founders of our company have never forgotten where they came from, and they care so much, and their commitment, you know, it's just awesome. So I'm really glad you got to experience that. Okay, Donna, you know, one of the things that I think is wild is the attempts to recruit you, and I know your backstory. Could you just take a minute and tell everybody, actually, I think it's kind of fun who your sponsor is, but also what it took for him to successfully recruit you? And I'll just let you tell the story.
It's crazy. So first of all, my sister is in ACN, and my sister has been in ACN for many years, many, many years. And she did all the right things. So if you've done all the right things and not gotten results, don't worry about it, because somebody's out there like me, right, waiting on you. So here's what she did: all the right things. She invited me to come and see this presentation. And I kept saying no, 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 no. Why did I keep saying no? Now, this is crazy when you think about the reasons I said no. I said no because she was a real estate agent. She was a single mom. She was making extra money dealing cards, right, and selling real estate. And so this was like her third gig on the side. Now, that doesn't even make any sense. She was doing all these things just to support her kids, and I said no. That is so terrible. That is a terrible, sister, right? But I knew my sister was a real estate agent, and I didn't listen at all. Whatever came out of her mouth about ACN, I didn't listen. I didn't even know the name of the company. And so I just kept saying no, and I kept saying no, and I kept saying no. And as a matter of fact, when she got started, I was commuting. Now, I needed this. I was commuting 10 hours to Northern Alabama from Ohio, helping my aunt and my cousin with a construction company, commuting back and forth, and managing properties in Ohio. And so it's not like I didn't need it. I definitely needed it. And she knew what a great opportunity it was, but I couldn't hear her. And so she had our good friend ask me as well. And he did not do everything correct. He started telling me all about it, blah, 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 blah. And I could say, no, 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 no. Now, y'all know this man as Regional Vice President Jim Lambright, like the great, incredible, wonderful Jim Lambright. I just knew my friend Jim, right? And I just kept saying no. And so finally, Jim and Stacy Lambright flew to Florida, where my sister resides. And they had a PBR there, a private business reception, where she invited some people and nobody came. And he said, Cindy, you got to get somebody on the phone. And she said, well, let's call my sister. And he goes, no way, I am not calling your sister. She told me no and never bring it up to her again. And I'm sure I said that, but that was probably the nice version. I just wouldn't listen, Leanne. I was just stubborn. I just wouldn't listen. I just couldn't even hear them. And my sister said the most amazing thing, and I remember pacing back and forth in my kitchen while I'm talking to him. And she said, just do me a favor. And I stopped and I'm like, okay. And she goes, just listen to Jim. Just sit down and listen to what he has to say. And her tonality completely changed. See, she wasn't trying to tell me how bad I needed this business. She wasn't trying to tell me how great the company was and anything about it. She simply said, just do me a favor. And when my sister asked me to do her a favor, I heard something completely different. It never dawned on me before, when she was trying to build her business and support her children, that I would be doing her a favor if I took a look at this business. I thought it was about me, and it was about helping her. And when it became about her, I was in.
So you actually said no 6 times,
Oh.
I think, to even look at.
For over 4 years.
So everybody, if you are trying to recruit somebody and they tell you no, she said no for years. And then didn't you tell Jim never bring it up again if you want to be friends or something like that?
Don't ever talk to me about it, Jim. If you want to be friends, just stop with all that.
So clearly, just hang in there. Don't burn a bridge. Don't be pushy. Sooner or later, everybody comes around. Don't you think, Donna?
You know what he did? He went on and he built a massive business without me. And I saw it grow, and I saw it grow, and I saw it grow. And my sister was still in, and Jim and Stacy were building a massive business on top of their incredible real estate business that they run. And seeing was believing.
Excellent. Now, one of the things that I really admire about you are your work ethic and your consistency. And I know that there are people on tonight that plug into our system, in terms of, working with our group. And I know that there's a couple people sneaking on here that really adore you, that just want to see you get promoted as well. But so no matter what it is, just in general, when you're building this business, what would you say were the key things that you needed to be consistent with in order to reach regional vice president?
So I really think consistency starts with a list, a really thorough list, and really writing people's names down and keeping track of people. And that might seem a little strange, actually writing names down, because a lot of people like spreadsheets and they've got contacts on their cell phone, and oh my goodness, I certainly don't know anybody's cell phone number, right? But I was told very early in the business to make a list, and just to make a list of everybody I knew, and to continue building that list. And when I meet people, write them down on the list, because you'll forget. And then learn how to make the phone calls and use the scripts, and consistently making calls and inviting people to events. And so the company has an incredible system where there's already set events after events after events. Every week there's events, monthly there's events, quarterly, and then annually there's these incredible international conventions that they do, from time to time, where you guys just saw Mr. Provenzano when they ran out a convention center and all of that. And so just really building my business from event to event, whether it's me doing a Zoom on the computer, or going to somebody's home, or going to a chamber of commerce and presenting and talking to people on a daily basis. See, I really believe you can call 25 people, and I'm just throwing a number out there. Maybe it's 10, right? Maybe it's 5, maybe it's 50. Everybody has a different kind of number. But let's say you called 25 people, but you called 25 people in 2 months. Well, the phone feels really heavy if you call one person a day. It feels really heavy. And then and you're nervous. I was nervous, calling people. And certainly I didn't make money at work by only calling one person a day, right? And so I had to work it like it was a real business. and call people. My business, whether the doors were open to my business or not, depended on whether I'm calling people, contacting people. And if I'm not calling anybody or contacting anybody, my business isn't open for business.
I love what you said. And you know, it's so important, even if you're doing ACN part-time, what Donna Perkins did is she treated it like $1 million business. And it's not based on the amount of time, because you're a busy woman, not only with all the things you have going on professionally, but I know you got grandkids that are super cute and all that fun stuff too. But you never treated it like a hobby. In the windows of time you worked, you always treated it like $1 million business. Okay, next question for you.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead. Please.
I was just going to say, I think it's really important to work as hard for yourself and your family as you do for the person who signs your paycheck. And that is something I got from my parents, right? My dad always ran a painting company. My mother didn't go to work outside of the home. She always did side jobs, but she did it like as an entrepreneur too. Like she would clean apartments. She just did all these other things. Finally, by the time I was 10, she took a position in a factory and went and did that. But they always taught me to work hard for your own self, for yourself, work for your family. And always, though, to work hard for the person who's signing your paycheck. When you're on somebody else's clock, you need to give them every minute of your day. But when you're on your clock, you need to give yourself at least that much time. And that is really, yes. And that is something I think it lacks sometimes. But if people work hard for themselves, as hard as they do for their boss, you will win in whatever you try.
Okay, I really want to ask you a couple more things, but what you said right there was so awesome. We could really kind of end the whole thing, but I do want to ask you a few more things. You're so right, Donna, because people go to work and they bust their butt all day long for somebody else. And then they come home and they say they're too tired to build their own business. And that's brilliant what you said. Okay, so I know, because I've had the pleasure of, being friends with you, that you were on your RVP run, and then all of a sudden the pandemic came. And I believe, at least to my knowledge, Ohio was, if not the first, one of the first places to shut down. And I know you even had a huge event with one of the co-founders coming to Ohio, which had to be promptly canceled. So, if you don't mind the raw, vulnerable part of sharing this, like when that happened to you and you're trying to close in on RVP, like what were your immediate thoughts? What were your emotions? How did you kind of process this and keep going and finish what you were on a mission to do?
Yeah, so, of course, when it first started, it was scary. It was scary for everybody, just worldwide. I mean, to live during a pandemic of this magnitude was scary for everybody. In fact, my dear friend and accountability partner, Valerie Reed, was literally staying at my home, and her daughter was in a horse show in Ohio, and she's from New Jersey. And so they had stopped over for the night and went down towards southern Ohio to go to this horse show, and the state of Ohio closed down. I mean, it just closed down. We were the second state to completely close, and they closed everything. And, so immediately I wasn't thinking about my ACN business. I was literally thinking about, oh my goodness, what does this mean for my family? What does this mean for everybody else's families? And then I instantly thought, it's okay. I have a home-based business. I've been using Zoom from my events so that I could reach other people that couldn't physically attend the events. We're going to develop some events right on Zoom. We're going to do that because we can talk to each other. We're home, we have the internet. And so I knew I could do that. And then I reached out to my daughter-in-law because they have 5-year-old, now 6-year-old. They had a birthday during the pandemic, twins, and they closed the schools, and she's in home health care. And so immediately reached out to her and said, listen, I have a home-based business. I can run my business and I can homeschool the kids so that you can work. And she's like, are you sure? And I'm like, absolutely. I can do this around our family. And I was so grateful, Liam, because when my kids were growing up, and I know that at least my son is watching this and he's downstairs. We're actually in Alabama right now. And, when my kids were growing up, I was a single mom very early in their life, and I went to work, and I had to work. I didn't have the option not to work. And later I remarried, and I remarried to an incredible man that you know, Terry Perkins. And but he had custody of his children, and he'd been a single dad for a long time. So not working was not an option for either one of us. It was a necessity that we both parents had to work in our house. And so I wasn't able to be there, you know, and be a stay-at-home mom with my kids, which I would have loved to have done. I have an elementary education degree, and I wasn't able to do that. But now, because of this business, I can run this business at home. I can homeschool my grandchildren, which I did. They graduated to first grade. And I am now in Alabama visiting with my 15-month-old grandson, and I can still work and be with my family. And that value is tremendous. And I loved my business before the pandemic. I love it more now, because right now it shows me that everything I thought it was, it is. And that's the message that I started delivering to people, to anybody and everybody that would answer their phone, answer their text, get on a Zoom with me, that this is something, if you need to make some extra money right now during these times, you know, to make ends meet, I've got something. If you need to save some money, let's see if we can save you some money. And then the food banks, oh my goodness, the food banks instantly were overwhelmed for a lot of different reasons. And I'm a president of a chapter that feeds family on Thanksgiving Day in my county. So that is something that's near and dear to my heart, you know, and that we feed children through Feeding America. And Feeding America, every night they were showing the lines at the food banks, and there wasn't enough food and there weren't enough funds. And to know that right now, every time for years, people sign up for a service with our company, we're making a donation through Feeding America, and that now Feeding America needs us more than it ever did. I mean, it's always needed us, but it needs us more now. And I just got on that mission for families like mine and other people's families, and just figuring out, how can I talk to people? How can I help my team talk to people? Who can we reach, and who can we help? It really became not about me going RVP. It became about, who can we help? Who needs help? What kind of help do they need? And what can we do to help them?
That's awesome. And, you know, you have, with the drive that it took for you to get these customers in the team and to get to regional vice, but I can't imagine how many kids you've fed. It's awesome to really think about that. And, you know, you made me think of something while you were talking, because you were talking about all the Zoom calls you did and reaching out to people. You know, you've been in the business for about 40 years now. So obviously a lot of people already knew what you did. So when you were building at the end, I know you always lead by example. It's one of the things that I respect so much about you. You don't wait for your team to get it done. And don't get me wrong, you have a lot of incredible people in your organization who
Yes.
pushed really hard and got customers and ran around and did things to help you get there. And I know how much that means to you, and I know how special those people are. But also, you never sat back, and I watched you personally recruit and introduce people to ACN during the pandemic at a pretty rapid pace. So for people who are sitting home watching this right now, maybe they've been around for a little bit. You know, I know some of the people were new, and I know some of the people were people that you reached back to. Would you mind sharing what your either strategy was, or how did you get new personal recruits at that pace while everybody was locked up?
Oh, absolutely. I used Zoom. So prior to the pandemic, you know, the real foundation of exposures to people to ACN is to invite people to your home and let one of the experts just present the business, the services, our service providers, you know, our Feeding America with Project Feeding Kids, and then let the chips fall as they may, right? No big sales pitch. It's just, hey, we have an opportunity. If you're interested in diversifying your income, interested in saving some money on some services, getting a great value, supporting me, supporting Feeding America, hey, let's see what fits. And so we really try to really get a lot of exposures at once, because most people who do ACN are very, very busy. They have full-time careers. Many people have full-time careers and a side gig, right? And pick up ACN as a third thing. So they don't have a lot of time. So the whole concept with ACN is that you can leverage time by doing a lot of exposures in a short period of time. And what I found with Zoom is that it saved me driving time to somebody's home or to an event, driving time home, and literally the co-founders, and Mr. Provenzano is one of them, shortened the presentation and shortened our videos and our marketing materials so we can literally show an entire presentation in 15 to 20 minutes, and just to invite people to join me on a presentation where we can have a conversation. And I had Mr. Williams from Cincinnati, Mr. Matt Williams, I had Mr. Lambright, I had Ms. Holzman out of the Maryland marketplace do presentations for me. And I literally picked up my list that I've been working on for 4 years. And I went through that list and I texted people, hey, how are you doing? How's the family? Hey, I don't know if it's a good time or not. Are you looking for something? Do you know anybody who needs to make some extra money right now? And I just went through the list like this and invited them on to a presentation and let somebody else do the presentation. And then I followed up with them. And I circled back around to a lot of people that I'd already talked to that had been over a year, 2 years, one guy, 4 years.
Just like you.
And people like me. And it was just the right time. It was just the right time.
It's really wild because there are people who said no in the past, but life's very different right now. And the fact that you were not intimidated, or you just picked up the phone and talked to them and you let them decide, which was ultimately a gift for them, Donna. And that's one of the things that's amazing. I think people forget that you're providing a gift to people when you share ACN with them. So I want to also tell you something really funny, and then I'm going to ask Donna one more question before we wrap up today. So I'm talking to Donna Perkins, right? And we're on the phone every morning. She's got a game plan. She's like, here's what we're doing. I got this many presentations. This person's signing up for ID Seal, blah, blah, blah. So then Ohio starts to reopen, and she's closing in the last, 48 hours of hitting RVP. And it sounds weird. And I said, Donna, where are you? Hold up your hands, Donna. Hold up your hands. Oh. And she goes, I'm getting a manicure, right? And I'm thinking to myself, a manicure? Like, it was so not aligned with Donna, who's been killing herself 24/7. I'm like, really? She stopped to get a manicure in the last push. And then I understood why. Please tell them what you proceeded to do while I was on the phone with you. Please go ahead and share why you were getting a manicure in the last 48 hours.
Because she needed an annual ID seal, right? So, I love our identity theft protection, and this lady is amazing, and she's on services. She's got services with us. She signed up to be an independent business owner, but she got, blah, blah, blah. Life got in the way, but she still got her services with her. So I went and got a manicure, and I'm telling her about my promotion, and I'm telling her about identity theft protection, and she signed up for an annual identity theft protection. And that, along with a few other people who really wanted to push and make sure that I flipped to regional vice president, also went out that day and signed up a few identity theft protections. But that was my first outing. That was my first public outing, and I had to go get my nails done and get an ID seal at the same time.
It was so funny. I was like, what is she doing? I'm like, oh, I know what she's doing. It's fabulous. Okay, so Donna, there is one more thing that I would love to ask you tonight. So, you've been at this for 4 years. The growth and the changes and who you've become. Like, I loved you the day you got started, but who you are now, your generosity, your leadership, your strength, your compassion, just everything about you is magnified. And it's funny, Mr. Greg Provenzano always says that when you become successful, you become more of whatever you really are. And you'll see that when people become famous or successful, that if they are, if they become wealthy and they're really nice, they become nicer, or if they're rotten, they become more rotten. And you see athletes and celebrities, it exposes in many ways, and who you are is just phenomenal. So what I would love for you to share, if you don't mind, would be two things. Okay, let's do two. The first thing would be if you were going to start all over again, knowing what you know now, and it was your first day, and there are people on this that are brand new, what would be one piece of advice that you would give somebody and say, hey, this is something I really learned that was really important?
So I would say, don't worry about what people say or that you're nervous, because all of us are nervous when we start something new. And tap into the system that we talk about. Tap into the training immediately. I did not do that. I did not tap into the training immediately, and yet I did extremely well. I wonder what I would have accomplished had I tapped into the training like that. And now the training is it's so convenient to get on it, and we have so much to offer as far as the training. And if you get into the training and then don't try to create anything extra, just do exactly what it says to do, the rest is history, because I didn't make any of this up. Once I plugged into the system and I just followed the system, it went like that. And when I went to my first international convention, my entire life changed. My vision changed, everything changed. So whatever training event that you can get on it. I turned the TV off. I got on training in the evenings for 30 minutes, just 30 minutes. And it was a game changer.
Excellent. And my very last question, I know there are people who are excited, they're on fire, they're pushing for their promotions, and they're so inspired by watching you. But I also know that at all times in life, there are people who are doing really well and there are people who are struggling. So inevitably, there are going to be people who are watching this tonight and maybe they're discouraged or they're having a hard time. And, there's always doubt. There's always people who want to quit, and, you go through those emotions. Is there anything that you could share that would maybe help somebody who's having a hard time right now?
Oh, now I might cry.
Sorry.
Don't quit. Don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on what you really want. What I have found is that most adults are in a career because of circumstance. I spent 20 years in a career because I was a single parent and I got really good at something and it paid really well. And I just happened to be really good at it. But it was never meant for what I was supposed to do. And I always knew, and for me, I always knew it wasn't what God intended for me to do with my life. It didn't have any meaning. It was just a job. I mean, I cared about my job and I loved that it paid me and it provided and fed my children. So I was very, very grateful. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't what I was meant to do. It wasn't what I was destined to do. And I knew that, and it was missing. And so in my 50s, I found what I was destined to do, and a platform to help people. And the more you help people, the more it will change you and lead you to whatever you're destined to do. There's a seat on the bus for every single person in ACN. And this is what I mean by that. Maybe you're supposed to be in ACN for a short period of time because it's going to lead you to the person that you're going to meet that's going to take you somewhere else. Maybe it's so that you can afford that new car, and then it's going to introduce you to something else, and then it's going to lead to something bigger, right? Maybe it's to replace a 401k that you lost. I don't know what your reason is. My reason was to help my mother retire. And this is where I'm going to cry because I know she's downstairs watching this right now. I really wanted her to retire, and she really wanted to have something that meant something to her in her retirement. She didn't want to just sit on the couch. And so my mom was my first independent business owner recruit, and she joined the team. And then my Aunt Carol joined the team. And then my Aunt Janie joined the team. They're all three downstairs right now watching this. We're all in Alabama, the place I was too busy to listen, right? So when I got my RVP, we came here to celebrate. And so we're here, they were the first people on the team. And I knew that there was something incredible and something very spiritual about ACN. And if you're in and you're struggling, I know you know that too. But life always is going to throw us things. It's always going to bring hardship. But my family has experienced a lot of hardships in the last 4 years. We really, really have. And the biggest one of the biggest ones, was that my mom got breast cancer. And praise God, she's on the other side of that and she's in remission. But it was a horrible 18 months. And I was very down in my ACN business one spring. And I was thinking, I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not getting anywhere. And I always keep track of how many people I call. I have this little sheet and I make these little tally marks. And I always keep track and I record them. And I would record it up in the left-hand column, like where I was on January 1st and where I was the week before. And I would just tally this. And I would look and see what my numbers looked like. And I looked at these numbers and I thought, wow, numbers don't lie. My team has grown and it's really growing. So what was going on between my ears wasn't real. A lot of times what's going on between our ears isn't real at all. The reality is much different. And the numbers told me it was different. And so that same year was when my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. And because of this business, I didn't miss a doctor's appointment. I didn't miss driving my mom to the doctor's appointment. I didn't have to take off of work. I didn't get, sick time or take family leave or lose pay. I didn't miss a surgery, an outpatient procedure. I was able to be there for every chemo treatment. I was there to be with her after her surgery, every step of the way. And I was so close because I thought I wasn't getting anywhere. And thank goodness I was tracking what I was doing because the team was growing and the team was working. And that year, my team was in the top 15 for all of North America for production for the entire year.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't miss one appointment with my mom. And my mom and I worked less than we had worked the year before. And that is residual income and time freedom. And that is options. And that is value. And that is something, if I could help anybody get the ability to be home with their family when they need to be home with their family and not have to worry whether the paycheck's going to come. Oh my goodness. That is why I do ACN now.
Donna, I'm so happy for you. I'm so grateful your mom's okay. I love your family and you all have an incredible relationship. And I know she's so proud of you right now. And so is everybody. You are remarkable. I thank you for being with us tonight and sharing your heart and sharing your experience. And don't forget that you can see Ms. Perkins as one of our trainers on Cyber Saturday this weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m. We have a presentation and trainers, and Regional Vice President Donna Perkins will be one of them, 10 a.m. Eastern this coming Saturday morning. So Ms. Perkins, congratulations. And
Thank you.
love you and so proud of you. Looking forward to more and more success stories, not only for you, but for your team that is on fire as well. So thanks for sharing your heart tonight.
Thank you for everything. I appreciate all that you do. I really do. Thank you so much.
Good night.
Good night.